my topic here today is basically the same as 6 years ago, Europe. But don't be afraid, I will not repeat my former speech because many things have changed in Europe, to my great regret, not to the better. So let me say a few words about that. You Americans are privileged not to be the objects of the European experiments, of the experiments both with the continental-wide artificial, non-genuine unification and with a continuing undermining of market economy. But it seems to me that some of your current economic problems are in many respects similar to the problems we in Europe face these days. The degree is, however, much different to your favor, of course. How long? I'm not sure. The problems, but I didn't come here to comment on your country, to participate in your election campaign. The problems in Europe we face now didn't come from nowhere, and some of us have been aware of them for a very, very long time. Nevertheless, many people in Europe, both in Europe and outside Europe, have not paid sufficient attention to the developments on the European continent until very recently, or have not looked at them with open and sharp eyes. People started to pay closer attention to the European problems 2 years ago, in the moment of the outbreak of the explicit, visible, impossible to hide European sovereign debt crisis. But most of them still do not want to know or to accept that this debt crisis is only the tip of a much bigger, much deeper and much wider iceberg. I am frustrated when Europeans, together with their politicians, journalists, public intellectuals, and most of economists, considered even the 2008-2009 crisis as a global phenomenon which Europe innocently imported from America, even though it was evident that this was a European and North American crisis, not a global one. I remember I attended 2 years ago, I guess, an interesting summit, EU-Asia summit, which was the meeting of the 27 heads of states of Europe and something like 25 heads of states of Asia. And it was ridiculous that the European leaders spoke about the crisis permanently. And I remember the Indian, it was not the president, but vice president, said, "It's strange. You speak about crisis, but we don't have a crisis. You have a crisis." And you know it. You have read something like that many times. But to sit around a table and to hear such a clear statement was for me very important. And he continued saying, "My country's rate of growth last year was 8.5%. 10 minutes before me spoke the Chinese Prime Minister. He said 10.5%. So we have no crisis. You have a crisis, which is really important to take into consideration. We have to therefore conclude that the long-lasting problems in Europe have been irresponsibly, widely underestimated. as someone who has been attending all kinds of EU summits in the last decades, I have to say that the leading EU politicians did not want to hear anything about these problems until very recently.